Yeah, because I don't want to be yelling. So let them get comfortable, and then we're going to incommodate them. No, they set up everything. Ola is going to do introduction. Wait, feel free to be here. Like, you don't have to be there. Yeah. If you manage to get any, like, 1-2 picture as a perfect. Yeah. I love nerdies. They will get to actually see everything. Not those people on the back. Don't bite.
People in the back are the naughty and the sharp.
I'm going to move.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Oops. Hello, how are you today? Okay. Most of you know me already. I am Ala Khalaf, representing HIPA here. Welcome again to this workshop. It is really very interesting one with a very interesting photographer, Martina. Welcome. Thank you for coming.
Thank you for
She just landed today.
Exactly midnight.
Yeah.
Like a Cinderella.
Yeah. This workshop is sponsored by Nikon, and as usual, we will have a break or not.
Depends
we will
on
see.
them.
Yeah,
Let's
it's
see.
their call today. We will have a little bit a small talk here in the room, and then we will have a practical workshop outside. We will prepare some refreshments and some snacks. Please help yourself afterwards. Don't leave before you take your certificate. At the end of the workshop, we will distribute certificates. At 5:30 approximately, there will be a sunset prayer, and there is a prayer room next to the reception, or if you wish, there is another one down in the ground floor. If you need anything, I will be responsible here from HIPA, but don't ask me, it's her turn today. Okay, enjoy.
Well, first of all, hello everyone. It is lovely to see you all. I just realized I'm going to be like Mariah Carey, finding the best light to stand, like once if someone is going to be taking pictures to look good. Do you hear me well, or shall I put it more up? Yeah, it's okay. I'm not a very quiet person, so I think it's going to compensate each other. Yeah. It's great to be here. As it was mentioned, I landed last night. Had okay sleep. I can totally have more, but I think the excitement to spend an afternoon with you guys was totally kicking in. And before I start telling you about my journey and about my work and about the things that I'm doing, I would just like to understand something about you. I assume all of you are photographers, right? Yeah? Yeah? Okay, okay. No one is like, if you get, like, from time to time you can just nod. That gives me like a feedback, and it helps me out as well. Is anyone here a wedding photographer? No one. Is anyone here who would like to explore being a wedding photographer, or trying a wedding photography, or potentially maybe earn some money from something extra? Okay, okay, that's good, that's good. So, my name is Martina, and I'm a destination and wedding photographer. I have been doing this for more than 12 years. I have been doing portraits and fashion before I tapped into wedding photography. So let's say that I have been playing with camera for around 14, 15 years. I didn't plan to be a photographer. I didn't know I will be a photographer. I just realized that I enjoy creating pictures. And back in those days in Croatia, where I'm from, it was not easy to earn any money from portraits and fashion. So one logical thing you do, you go where, exactly, go with the flow, go where people are maybe a little bit more willing to pay. And I said maybe because I know that maybe a lot of you are struggling to charge the way that you would like to have. And then I realized that I actually enjoy photographing weddings because I have a nice blend of portraits and I can play with fashion elements, and there is a lot of event photography, even a product photography when I'm photographing jewelry and dresses and the bridal details. So you have a nice, beautiful synergy of many photography fields in this very simple thing called wedding photography. I have traveled to more than 20 countries as a wedding photographer, photographing people from all over the world, different cultures, different religions, and it has been such a beautiful, beautiful thing to experience. Hello, no worries. I'm a proud Nikonian. That's a word I think I invented. I don't think it exists. That means a person who is using Nikon camera. I have been loyal Nikonian from the beginnings of my journey, slightly thanks to my dad, who was a hobby photographer and had some Nikon equipment, and I think it was just easy to continue. But it shows how quality follows, considering I haven't switched the systems from the day one. And I know that some people tap into this system and that system and that system. I have been on the same system ever since. And I'm going to be talking a little bit about hybrid shooting later. But I just want to tell you that I switched to mirrorless camera, I think, 10 days ago or 2 weeks.
Okay, because last time you said only 850.
Yeah, I was shooting on Nikon D810, not 50, D810, which is even older. And someone asked me recently, why it took you so long to switch to mirrorless? Everyone has mirrorless. I don't know. Honestly, I don't have a smart answer. I think I was blocking myself, saying it's too easy to create pictures with a camera that is helping you out. And now I'm not regretting because my back hurts less, which is an amazing thing. Which is an amazing thing. But 99% of the images and the things that we're going to be talking about, I was doing with a DSLR, and quite an old DSLR as well. Now, being a photographer, a wedding photographer, means that we have a passport to enter people's most intimate moments. Whether those moments are when the family who is having a destination wedding photographer sees their son and daughter, the newlyweds. Obviously, they're not brothers and sisters. I framed it a little bit wrong. So this is his family and this is her family, not related. When they saw each other for the first time on the wedding day. And it was totally unplanned moment. We were taking first look and pictures in the hotel. And because Koreans are not on time, but earlier than the time, they were finished much earlier than planned, and they were walking from the elevator to the restaurant where the ceremony and the dinner was taking place. And this was one of their favorite picture from the wedding day that was pure organic moment captured. This is the same groom a little bit earlier after he read the letter bride wrote him. I don't know what she said. It was in Korean. I only know that it was very emotional. And I was only praying that, considering I was shooting DSLR that makes click, 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 click every time you press the shutter button, he will not figure out that I'm taking pictures and stop crying, because I love the moment. And I love when people cry. Another example of those moments that we get an opportunity to capture is when the kids of the bride play with their mom's dress. And those are British. They love to, they love to make babies before they get married. And I remember the older sister was trying to keep the younger one well behaved, making sure that nothing happens to the dress before the wedding starts, because everyone was extremely excited. But what a beautiful, beautiful moment that the bride is going to cherish for many years. Or a moment like this, which this image, I know it looks very simple, and maybe you're wondering why I'm even showing it, but it's about how much effort took to create this image. And why it took an effort is because as cool and chilled this bride is in her everyday life, she was complete opposite on her wedding day as the time was approaching for her to get in a dress, sit in a car, go to the church, and see her husband and get married. And me knowing that if my clients are stressed and not having fun and not enjoying the atmosphere and the day that is unfolding, I know I'm not going to have the pictures I'm going to like, and I know I'm not going to have pictures that they're going to like. So I did a very simple thing. I don't remember, it was in 2015 in Lithuania, so if I forget some details, a long time ago. I don't remember if the dress was there because I was taking pictures of the dress there, or I put it specifically for this picture. Most probably the first. And I simply told her, listen, I need you to take a deep breath, so grab your flowers, just go chill on the bed, sit for a second, take a deep breath, take a moment for yourself. We're all going to step outside of the room. And I'm like, I step outside of the room. And she took a few moments for herself. I didn't tell her how to feel. I didn't tell her how to sit. I didn't tell her how to look. And I even finished my pictures, and she was still there. She needed that. But then I can tell you that after this picture, when she was getting into her wedding dress, I have the most amazing pictures with her because she was really relaxed. Yes, she was excited, but she was in a state of mind that I needed her to create the pictures that I know that she will be happy to look at after 20 years. The first dance is something that I really like to photograph as well, especially if the ballroom or the space that the couples are having their ceremony or a party is lit in an interesting way. Now, this space could have been approached in many, many ways. I could have put flashes on the sides. I could have put flash on the camera. I could put extra light. But oftentimes, I like to take advantage of what there is. And yes, maybe their faces here are not perfectly showing. They're not perfectly lit. But I think it gives a beautiful atmosphere into what they selected to have on the wedding day and how they imagined their first dance moment is going to be. And then we have a lot of things like this. When kids are done with the party, they want to go home. They're maybe a little bit high on the sugar, but the parents are still not ready to go because if they have a 3-year-old kid, most probably they're not socializing that much, and the weddings are a perfect opportunity for them to have a little bit of fun. I really love this picture. Again, it's quite simple, but it shows how simple moments can be powerful. This bride was telling me on repeat how important the moment when her father is going to see her in the wedding dress is for her. Her mother passed away, so he's the only family she has. And to be honest, this moment was more important for her than the moment her husband is going to see her in the wedding dress. And she was all about that before the wedding day and during the wedding day. And the only thing I could have done is make sure that she knows that I'm going to be able to capture it. Now, I like to say that this picture is semi-organic, semi-spontaneous, because I didn't adjust it that much. The mirror on the window was already there. They were using it for the makeup. The only thing I said, guys, don't remove the mirror. Keep it here. I love it. Don't worry, I'm going to take care of it later. The only thing I fixed was telling her where to stand. Knowing I have a mirror, knowing I have a door where her father needs to enter from, I told her where to be. And then I stepped outside of the house and I said to her father, that he simply needs to enter, see his daughter, and enjoy the moment. Whatever he feels to do next is totally up to them. And those are the moments where I'm completely silent. I let them unfold as they happen. And this is where mirrorless cameras come really handy, because I can just kill the sound. Before it was a lot of click, click. But I don't think anyone noticed in those kind of moments, because everyone is going through their own emotions and feelings. Again, first dances, parties, so many things are happening around us, and not all of them have to be around bride and groom. There are so many stories surrounding the families, the friends, kids. You just have to be there to see them. I think you already noticed that I really love to have first looks. There are a few reasons for that. One of them is, especially if you know how the weddings are functioning here. They're slightly different than European weddings. But on big weddings, especially Arabic weddings, you're not really having a wedding for yourself. You're more having a wedding for your family and friends. And I feel that the moment you enter the ballroom, you become a public property. Everyone wants to have a picture with you. You have to kiss everyone, greet everyone, take a selfie with everyone. And maybe you don't get to enjoy the moment as you were hoping to. And this is why moments like this, before the craziness, as I like to call it, starts. And I can allow my couples to have intimacy that they will be treasuring for many years from that day, without feeling shy, without feeling awkward, and without any restraint of showing the emotions. And I do that with all of my couples. I do that with my European couples. I do that with Arabic couples. Cultures are not the same. The wedding flow is not the same. But I always aim to have something like this. Minus the crying. That's not always there, but I love when it happens. By the way, this groom was convincing me he will not cry. We had a pre-wedding session a week before the wedding. And because the bride is not really a dress kind of a girl, she's always in jeans, very casual. And I was telling him, you know what? I'm pretty sure you're going to cry when you see her in the dress. And he's all kind of a macho guy. He was like, no way I'm going to cry. I think he nailed it. Another example of a first look, and this was a wedding in Jordan, so big Arabic wedding. And when people tell me, oh, no, you know what, I cannot do that, my clients don't want them, I don't think any client would tell you no if you tell them, listen, I need 2 minutes to create a moment like this. I have a whole set of pictures after they actually saw each other that are more intimate. But I don't think anyone would be telling you no to having this, unless you're asking for 1.5 hours of their time that they would rather spend with their friends and family. This was a wedding in Jaipur in India, and I love it because I was not the only photographer there. They had 2 or 3 other teams, photographers and videographers. One team was more the traditional thing. They were fulfilling the wishes of the parents. Another one, I think, was more for the decoration. And if there was a third, I don't remember what they were doing. And I was specifically there for bride and groom. And it was a 3-day wedding. And why I love this picture, it's, again, very simple. But they waited for the wedding to finish, and they came to me, and they said, Martina, we want everyone to leave, including the photographers, and we want to do some pictures with you, because we feel so comfortable, we feel so much having fun, and we want to do a few. Would you please stay a little bit longer? Now, as photographers, we're observers, we're storytellers, and through that storytelling, we celebrate humans. And this is, wow, I'm fast, sorry. One more. And it's going to go. I don't know why. Okay. We observe, we tell the story, and we celebrate people and emotions through everything that we create. Most of the time, I would be working with natural light, if it's possible. Obviously, it's not possible all the time because a lot of the weddings and ceremonies are happening long after the natural light and the sun goes down. But I want to share with you, if there is a possibility, why I love to work with the natural light. One of the reasons is because natural light absolutely helps making the subjects look younger, helps with the skin, doesn't have harsh shadows. It can have harsh shadows if you go outside at noon and you have the sun hitting your bride. But I don't have to have a lot of equipment, and I'm not restrained by it. Later, when we finish and we go out, we're going to have a bride waiting for us. And we're going to be working with some lights, considering that we will most probably not have available daylight coming through the window, even though now, if you were in that reception area, it was just beautiful. I was like, ooh, why the model is not here? I would totally be taking advantage of the situation. But for me, if I want to create pictures like this, where my couples are truly themselves and truly allowing the emotions to come out, I don't want to be restrained with, can you turn your head a little bit here because the light is here? I want to have the light. I want to have the ability to click the picture, and then I want them to enjoy the moment, to be themselves, to express their love, and have beautiful images like this. When you shoot with natural light, you cannot move the light. We cannot move the sun. It is where it is. The only thing we can move is our subjects and us. And we were having a conversation outside because this gentleman was at the beginning of the year in one of my workshops. We were taking pictures in the desert, and he said that he would love to learn more about how my pictures look the way they look. And I said that I'm very particular about where am I going to be taking a picture. And by where, I don't mean am I going to be in Dubai or I'm going to be somewhere in Europe. We're talking about, if I have a wedding here in this space, why would I choose specific place, specific corner, specific background that I would choose? And I always follow the light. This is the rule number one. And I think it's self-explanatory, considering photography literally means painting with light. If we have no light, there is very little we can do. And you know that. You're all photographers. No need to tell you that. And if I have the ability to move the subject and to move myself, I'm actually limitless. I can do whatever I want. And I'm going to be showing that to you a little bit later when we go out, just how would I approach the whole thing. When we're going to go out, it's going to look completely different than it was now when the sun was out. So I'm starting from a scratch, which usually happens at the wedding. But natural light can really work in your favor if you know how to use it. I took this picture just to show where I put my subjects. Anyone has any idea why there? Why? And this is the same angle. From here, when I put them, I went a little bit there, but the light was hitting the camera, so it was hitting their back. Any ideas why I was going in that direction? Hmm? Yeah, that's one of those. For me, the first thing is, let's imagine this is the sun, and I'm a beautiful bride. I want to do this because it's really killing my eyes. I'm a little bit blind. So what people normally do, they put sunglasses. I don't do sunglasses because I want to see my couples looking at each other. Unless it's a fashion statement, of course. We can always do some pictures, but if we're doing something intimate, I want them to be able to see each other, and I want to see that in the picture. If they don't put sunglasses, oftentimes they would be looking like this, which is not appealing as well. And sometimes I don't have a luxury of choosing the part of the day where I'm going to be taking pictures, considering the schedule, considering the other obligations bride and groom have on the wedding day. So for me, the easiest thing is to turn them away from the sun. So that means that the sun is going to be hitting the back of their head, meaning eyes are good, no squinting, no need for sunglasses. But then I also get a beautiful backlight that separates them from the background. And then why I chose to put them here, because this is something called natural sun bouncer. Wow. The light hits here and it bounces back. And you can see the light on their faces. I was not photoshopping it. I'm very lazy in post-production. So I would maybe add a little bit of contrast, correct the colors, but I'm not going there and using the brush to put some extra light. If there was no light, there was no light. You can see on the next picture how illuminated her face is. And it's because I put them in this place where I put them, where I could have put them anywhere. It was a big square with a church in Cyprus. I could have put them anywhere, but I put them there. The sun that is hitting down, I have a pointer. Huh. So the sun that is hitting here, now on this picture, this is somewhere down. And it's reflecting to her face. And the light that is kicking here is reflecting his white shirt. And then the light from his white shirt is going on her face. So I created the most beautiful illuminated picture without any extra equipment, except my camera and 50mm lens. This was done with 50 for sure, this maybe with 105. That's it. And if I have less time on my hands, if I have a wedding planner or the mother saying, oh, we're late, I'm done. Not a lot of complications here. Another example, you can see the line between the sun and the shadow. So I would put my subject in the shadow as close as possible to this line, because this light here is going to be bouncing back to them. And again, this has not been brushed and photoshopped to make it brighter. And then if I cut this and do a portrait like this, look how beautiful light on their faces is. So simple. It can be done so fast. I don't need extra lights, extra assistance. I'm efficient. Something that I use in my work is that less is more, and the simple is always the best. If you get the luxury of time, creative freedom, being in a studio, it's great to have fun, to play with the lights, to try this and this and this. That's all beautiful. Unfortunately, on the wedding day, there is not that luxury of time in 99% of time. Sometimes I get brides that I come and they're ready on time, even before the time. Everything is displayed for me. I finished taking pictures of all the details. And it's literally, what now? And then I feel I'm not doing anything because everything was nicely organized. If that would be happening on more weddings, my life would be much easier. But this is something that I follow on every wedding. Simple is less. Simple is less is more. And simple is the best for the style of images I create. Another example. This was a wedding in Cyprus, and I could have chosen any place to take pictures of. And I could have chosen any kind of editing, and here I selected to have a very simple black and white. The blue, the sea was very blue, the sky was very orange, it was sunset time, which is beautiful. But I felt that I need something more simple, That's why black and white editing. There's nothing complicated here. It's very simple. But I knew where I want them to be, where I want the light to be, and then I just made sure that from them I get the emotion that I know can come out of them. Before you try to execute an image, try to plan it in your head. What I see a lot with photographers, especially the ones that are starting with weddings, is that they get overwhelmed. And I don't know if you ever come on any kind of shoot that you're doing and you feel that overwhelmed of, okay, I want everything. What do I do first? Oh, this is cool, and this is cool, and this is cool, and this is cool. And sometimes I do the same thing. I come to an amazing location, and I want everything. And I have 15 minutes, if I'm lucky. So before I try to do everything and end up doing nothing, I try to plan in my head what I want. When I came here today, the guys were setting up the lights and preparing and asking me, what do you want? And I said, wait, give me a minute just to cruise around, take a walk, see what we have, so I know what I want. And sometimes knowing what you want means eliminating the things that you don't want. So when I figure out there is a reception there, I automatically eliminated here. I was like, okay, we're going to be here talking, so I don't want to be taking any pictures here. So I eliminated the whole space, and I focused there. And then I had to eliminate there as well, because it's a big space. We have a hall. We have one type of chairs, another type of chairs. We have one window. We have some plants. I eliminated the things knowing that maybe we will not have a lot of time. And I prioritize them in my head. The pictures I know I definitely want to do, and I would start with that. Then another thing just to have a variety. And then if we have time, great, there is a third and fourth and fifth option as well. And here's our beautiful bride. Hello. Is anyone looking for a wife? No? Everyone married here? No? Okay. Are you married? Okay. Just saying. There are certain elements for you to have in mind once you're creating portraits, especially when you're working on the weddings. Obviously, who is your subject? It's not the same if you're photographing the bride or the mother of the bride or the groom. I'm not going to be working the same way with the bride that I work with the groom, obviously. You have to be aware of the light. I think I'm going to be mentioning that a few more times through our time today, but this is super, super, super crucially important. Location, where you are. Don't think where you wish to be. Think where you are, what you can use, and how you can use it to your own benefit. Technical aspects. Remember that picture of the first dance that was black and white and quite contrasty? That's the space, how it looked there when I entered. And I could have chosen if I'm going to keep it like that, keep it fully ambiental, or I'm going to add more elements to it, or I'm going to modify the light if it's possible. Emotions. Believe it or not, this bride, a minute before I was able to take this portrait, was crying hysterically because the nail polish she had on her nails was not exactly the shade she wanted. And it wasn't a matter she wanted pink nails and she got green. It was a matter of she wanted this shade of pink, but she got slightly different shade of pink. And it was a huge drama. And if you will ever be in situations like that, understand that in that moment, it's not a drama about the nails. It's a whole overwhelming situation of the weddings and the things that are going to happen. And then nails just came as a cherry on a top. And we were already late because her makeup was late. And then she starts crying, and I need to make her portraits because I know after it was a Lebanese wedding that I will not have opportunity to do that, most probably. So I need to make sure that I'm backed up and I have the things that she will need later. And there was a videographer with me. I think every time we have any joint work, he always tells this story, how Martina made the crying bride smile. It was literally a minute before this. So you have to be aware of what kind of emotions you're dealing with and understand them. Because if you understand them, you will be able to fix whatever is going on. And one of the things, just in case I forget to mention it later, you will never hear from me telling to my clients, smile. I make them smile. I don't want to smile on command because it's never going to look as organic as the smile is going to look if the person gives it naturally. Creative aspects. Obviously, in this space, I could have chosen so many different backgrounds, so many different furnitures that were in the room. Backlight, front light, flashlight. I have all the freedom that I want. And this is another thing that you have to be aware of, what you want to do and maybe what you don't want to do. I know what I don't want to do, so I follow the natural light. What is the theme or the style of the wedding? There are certain weddings that happen outdoors and they're super bright, super airy. Everything is very white and blush and romantic. And there are weddings that are quite dark, more contrasty. If I have a bright wedding, of course I'm going to be creating brighter images. But if there's a wedding that happens with very, very little available natural light, and the decorations are darker, the decorations are moodier, then I'm going to make sure that my style of photos are fitting that theme, that style of the wedding, which will, again, be following my style, what I normally do, but it's just going to be more au pair. I had that was 2019, if I'm not mistaken. It was an Irish wedding in Croatia, on one of the islands, and they really wanted to have first dance without any extra light. It was an outdoor area. It was kind of like a farm thingy with wooden chairs and everything. It was super nice, super romantic, very little available light in general. So for their first dance and cutting the cake, they gave all the guests the sparkles. How do you call them? Those that you lit with sparkles. The one on a stick that do like, and then they switch off. And every guest had those, and that was the only available light that I had. Now, for me, I would normally go and put either a light or some flashes off camera to have something a little bit more interesting, but for them was super important. They have that natural looking light coming from the sprinklers. No, sprinklers are in the garden. Sparkles. And I'm sorry, I don't have that picture here, but if anyone is going to be interested, pop me a DM, and I will be happy to send you those. And the pictures are amazing. And the pictures are taken with DSLR, not the mirrorless that follows the eye. It was very low light, and honestly, I was so afraid when I was delivering the gallery that they're going to hate the pictures because they were much more darker than what I normally do, and they loved them because it was exactly what I wanted. And then when I was like, okay, they like them, they're one of my favorite pictures now as well. Subject's mindset goes very closely with those emotions. Is the moment of the bride crying versus bride being ready to take pictures and getting out and continuing with her day. So if you think about all of those things, our job is not really easy. Maybe it looks easy on the surface. Maybe people think we just photograph weddings because we get free food. I'm pretty sure my mom still thinks that. But no, we don't, and we very rarely get to actually sit down, have a break, and eat, because we have to think of all those things and deal with so many people at the same time, and deal with us, with our creativity, with our mindset, with our equipment, a lot of things to be considering. Now, one of the things that I never do is approach each session, approach each wedding, thinking it's going to be the same as the previous one. I had recently a workshop where one photographer asked me, You know, when I plan for the shoot and, you know, I know exactly what I want to do, and then I come on a shoot and I see maybe that's not the right thing. Maybe something else is better. This is what I told her. Don't think that yesterday's session is going to be the same. Don't think that the bride and groom that you had last Saturday is going to be the same that you're going to have this Saturday. Don't approach each people as a copy-paste. Every bride is different. I'm different than you, and you're different than her and him. We're all individuals. And I think it's really, really, really important that when we approach wedding photography, we approach it in that way. Understanding why those people decided to get married. Even if it's an arranged marriage, there is still a reason why mothers decided it's going to be a good match. It's always good to have a direction where you want to go. That photographer, as an example, who knows exactly what she wants to do, and I said, take it as a guide, but be open to see whether there are better possibilities and options once you come and start shooting. I had a session in Doha last year. It wasn't a real wedding. It was a styled shoot where there was a dress that I wanted to use. And I found beautiful model, not very experienced, very young, but she was beautiful and I wanted to work with her. And I had this idea in my head that I want her to walk through the city, very modern vibes, you know, kind of New York thingy. And this is what I imagined. I was like, I'm going to do a series of black and whites. She's going to walk around. It's going to be all candid. It's not going to be a lot of posing. I just need her energy. And the makeup artist that was working with me, she was totally up to the idea. And she was so excited because she was missing something like this in portfolio. And we came on a shoot, and she started doing the makeup. And I said to her, I don't think we're going to be doing that thing we planned. She was like, why not? I said, because the energy I want to create is not the energy that this girl is giving me. She's giving me completely different energy. She was very, very feminine, very delicate, very soft, very beautiful, very graceful, which is a beautiful thing. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying it's something bad, but it wasn't something that I was hoping to create on that shoot. And that I said, I'm not going to be forcing something that it's not going to be natural for her. We're changing the concept. We still have the same dress, but I shifted my mind from we do that independent, modern New York vibes walking around the city, and we focus on something more graceful. So if you keep your mind open and allow yourself the possibilities that can be once you come on a session, I think you have endless possibilities of what you can create. And I think this is something that can be absolutely applicable in any photography field. And most of the things I think I'm sharing with you today, anything that you're photographing can be quite applicable, especially for the people who are photographing wildlife, because weddings are quite similar to wildlife sometimes. So yeah. So I'm going to put this one more time. The things, among all the other things that you have to keep in mind if you're photographing weddings. Subject, light, location, technical aspects, emotions, creative aspects, theme or style, and the subject's mindset. You can have everything great. You can have perfect location, perfect dress, beautiful bride, amazing flowers. But if the pose and the emotion is not the right, something is always gonna look off on that picture. So think about it. You can have everything perfect, but if the emotion that she is giving you is not the perfect one, it's gonna look off. That story of the walking vibes in the city that I had to switch because I knew it's not gonna look the way I know it can look in my head. So instead of forcing it, I was letting another direction to unravel. Now, posing real people is not the same as posing the models. Today we have a model, so Most probably she knows very well how to stand, how to pose, how to put her arms, how to put her body weight, how to have that perfect angle of the face and the lips and the squint of the eye. Very rarely that happens on the weddings with the real people. Well, not the real people, the regular people. Because if we say that people are real, that indicates that our model is not real, but she's very much real. She just have better skills than all of us regular humans. So when you're working with regular humans, you have to have that in mind, that they're not models. Most probably they're super shy as well, feeling awkward in front of the camera. A lot of my couples are very open about telling me, you know what, we love your pictures because they look so effortless, but we're so shy in front of the camera. And majority of my clients are shy in front of the camera. A lot of the weddings I photograph in Middle East during the winter when it's off season in Europe are meeting for the first time in front of my camera. How awkward is that? Not only for them, but for me. Recently I had it was an engagement party, and this is the second time the bride and groom saw each other. This is after they signed their papers. And when those uncomfortable moments happen, I talk a lot. Because I feel like, okay, I'm uncomfortable. If I'm uncomfortable, you're uncomfortable as well. So let's just break the ice. Let's not keep things in silence. And then the groom said, you know, you have to have understanding because this is the second time we see each other. And I said, my friend, listen, if you're shy, imagine how I feel. Because I have to, like, create something. You're expecting me to do some romantic images. How awkward it is for me. So I totally understand what you're going through. And I'm not going to be, you know, pushing the limits that I see on your face that is going to be out of your comfort zone. But don't think it's easy for me as well. This is a good example between posing and guiding. Obviously, on the left picture, she's a model. And I can do things with her that if I tried the same things with this bride, it would look really, really awkward. Very unnatural, very unflattering, most probably. But with her, I can do that because she's super aware of her body. For this lady, I have to guide her. I have to tell her where I want her to stand. I have to tell her where I want her to be looking at. You're sleepy. He didn't even hear me telling to him that he's sleepy. He was like, okay. If you need a nap, that's totally fine. Yes, my voice is so soothing.
Yeah.
Like, yes, sure. Are you a politician? I've heard a lot of things about my voice, but soothing is not one of them. So I tell my real, regular clients where to stand, where to look. They very rarely look at me because I don't want them to have interaction with me, especially if they're together. Why in earth you have two people in love looking at me instead of looking at each other? And I always use that as a joke, especially with the grooms who are awkward and that they just lock their eyes with the camera. And I said, man, if you have to look at me next to her, we have a problem. And usually that ends up being a great picture because both of them start laughing while being in the pose or in the area where I put them in. And I end up having fantastic, fantastic images. Oops, sorry, no, I didn't want to go there. So for this bride, I told her that I want her next to the cake, and then what she did, and I said, okay, great, I love it there. You know what, maybe you can hold your flowers in your right hand, and then what they normally do, this. And I said, you know what, just relax it down, chill. She put it down. And then I'm left with the other hand. What do we do? For me, everything has to have a reason. And I said, okay, we have that cake thingy. I want to see the ring. I want to see the bling bling. So this is what she did. But then, you know, she was still looking at me. The pose was, you know, quite close to what I wanted, but she was still locking her eyes with my camera that I didn't want. And then I said to her husband, I said, you're going to go there behind me. I don't remember exactly what I said because during the shoots, a lot of silly things come out of my mouth, but I get results like this. I can say something like, look at your husband like he's bringing you a fresh McDonald's. Or I say to the groom, you know what, let's see how fast you can make her smile. And sometimes they start laughing before he even says anything. And then I even make a more joke and I said, come on, like, he doesn't look that bad to start laughing just by seeing him. And then you would get something really, really, really them. Because I can never tell her to smile like this. I can never use the words to get this by describing how to tilt her head and how to open her mouth and how to squint her eyes. This all has to come from her. So the posing isn't only the pose, it's the energy. It's that energy you get from whoever you're photographing. And the pose doesn't have to be the perfect one, because honestly, this is not a perfect pose, because this here annoys me so much, because I love to have a separation between the waist and the arms. And that can easily be considered a mistake. And in my head it is. But this is such a beautiful picture that she loves. So it doesn't have to be perfect for me. It has to be perfect for her. So knowing that, and knowing that posing isn't only a pose, but it's an energy, you will very oftenly see me and hear me telling people what to do by giving them an action. I will not tell them, hey, can you stand there and look at me and hold your flowers like this and tilt your head like this and then smile? You will never hear me do that, and I will never, never, never do that. Even when people do group pictures, when the family gathers, and then everyone stands like a football team. No. Okay, I take the picture so they don't feel bad or think they're doing something wrong, but I want them to relax. And this is why I talk a lot on the weddings. When I have groups, I take it as a moment of inspiration. I would say something funny, and people will just relax and start laughing. And then when they do that initial thing, I would say, you know what, let's have some huggies. And I love doing that, especially with the families that are maybe not that intimate or not having hugs introduced to their daily lives. And I know it's super awkward for them, and I love it because I love to make people awkward. But when they're awkward, you can get real emotions out. And when people are shy and you push them a little bit outside of their comfort zone, that what they do every day, you really get to see who they are and you really get the genuine emotions. And I think it's a beautiful thing. And that's why I have a rule that says, hate me now, love me later. You're going to hate me now in this moment because I'm asking you to hug, and maybe you never hugged your brother before, despite what your mother was trying to get for the last 10 years. So you're going to hate me now, but once you grow up, after 15 years, you're going to love that picture. Because maybe it's going to be the only beautiful picture you're going to have with your sibling. Or it might be the only picture you're going to have with your father before he passes away. I don't come from the family of huggers. We're not. We started now recently after I travel a lot, so they don't see me often. But before, not really. And I think this is maybe also one of the reasons that I try to get from the other people that I know that maybe they're missing in their life. Because we're all the same. No matter where we come from, no matter where we live, what religion we believe in, what kind of culture we follow, we're all the same at the core. We all feel the same emotions. Now, I went a little bit further than what I wanted to go, but I feel people are nodding, so that's a good sign. Now, rules in photography are always there to break. I think it's a beautiful thing to learn the rules, to understand certain basics, and then modify it the way you want and the way it fits you. And this is why it makes all of us different. And we all create something that is unique to us. And I approach the same thing with posing or guiding. I'm going to use word posing for both of the terms. Depends who I work with. And now the new generations, I get a lot of young brides who are so used to doing selfies and things for TikTok. They already come and pose. Usually they pose very wrong because they're used to this angle, and that's not the angle I'm doing. And then we have to fix some wrong ways of thinking of what her angle is and how she should be posing. But there are certain guidelines, I'm not going to say rules, but certain guidelines I just want to mention to you just to keep in mind and maybe start noticing more and more once you're photographing any kind of people. I always try to have spine straight. Regardless if it's a female or a male, no one looks good like this. Everyone looks good with a straight spine, with shoulders back and down. We look taller, we look better. And now I don't look like this all the time. I have moments where I do this, especially when I'm sitting at the computer and editing. I look like a question mark, and then I wonder why my back hurts. But for the pictures, try to have spine straight. Sometimes that's going to mean that it's going to look very awkward and stiff, so you have to modify it. You cannot simply say to your subject, I need your straight spine, and then they're going to sit like this in the chair and look very awkward. So you also have to modify it sometimes. But it can be a nice guiding thing to have in mind. Shifting the body weight is something that is going to help you a lot. You know when you do the passport or ID pictures and you stand like this, and I don't think anyone likes their passport picture. Is there anyone here who likes the passport picture? No, yeah, no. Because you're standing like this. Equally, you're very symmetrical, you're staring at the camera. It is the least flattering picture ever. If you ever end up in prison, that's the picture they can use. Perfect. The simple thing you can do is shift the body weight. What that means, instead of, can I have our bride? Because I think it's going to be much easier to show it on her than on me. Hello. Can we have a little clap for our beautiful bride? Okay. Stand somewhere where you're not going to get blind. That's perfectly fine. Do you see her or do you need more light? Yeah, it's okay. We can, yeah, because we have, it's fine. We're not going to do anything much, but just for you to see. You're going to give me flowers for a second, and you're just going to stand straight, look at them. Something that most probably you are, no, like a soldier, yes. Something that most probably you very rarely do when you're in front of the camera, exactly. Now let's try to do one thing. Instead of standing on two legs, you're just going to stand one and relax the other one. That already looks better. Not perfect, but go back to the soldier pose. Okay, you see the difference. Now try to use one of your legs to have step back and just do the same thing. You're gonna, we did like a micro teeny tiny thing. And it already looks better. Now what we can do here, let's go back to the soldier thing. Relax on one side, stand up, perfect. And your left knee, you're gonna push it a little bit inside. So you're, yeah, perfect, so you're just gonna create the curve. See how we have a little bit of curve compared to the soldier pose? And then you're going to put your arms straight, be perfectly straight. Now let's just curve it a little bit. Why am I actually, you cannot see me from there. You're just going to curve it a little bit and maybe turn one shoulder towards them. Okay. Yeah. And for example, if we're doing it on the wall, let's use a wall. Let's use it here. Okay, you're going to lean on the wall as a soldier, as you were at the beginning. And you literally glue yourself on the wall. Completely. Booty on the wall as well. Yeah, it's fine. Don't worry. Okay. Now, let's do a thing where you're going to stand on one foot, kick the knee inside. You're going to keep your booty on the wall, and you're going to lean a little bit forward. Now you're going to turn one, perfect. Let's rotate you a little bit more. Okay, now let's give you flowers. You can keep it a little bit down so it's just more relaxed. And then imagine I just did this, and then I know he's the groom, and I just get the reaction. Are you okay with him being your husband? Okay. So she is in the pose that I wanted her to be, which we did like this, if we have no time. And then I just said something silly, and she was smiling. And that's my picture. How simple is that? Okay, actually stay here for one more second. Can we have later the plastics off? Yes, perfect. No, you can stay here for a second. Joints, elbows, knees, the more you bend them, the more fluid it's going to look. So compared to her soldier pose and everything stiff, make a soft pose. Make something very gentle with, think waving as a queen. Okay. So what I often notice, especially in the younger generations, what they do, they never keep this straight. They always do it very, very like pointy, which is great for a fashion shoot maybe. I don't like it for the brides because I want it more soft. So I would have everything soft. Wherever she goes, it's going to be very soft, very gentle, and very natural. Everything has to have a reason for happening. If she's doing the Vogue pose, then it's going to be like, why are you doing that on a wedding day? Unless you're a Vogue model, then totally makes sense. Oh, what happened? No, go back. Sorry. Yeah. Keep the gap between the torso and arms. This is the picture I showed you before that I said it's not the perfect pose, but I still love it. So the difference between gluing the arms down, glue them down. She looks much wider than she is. But if you simply do this, you leave the gap here, you see where her waist starts and ends. And visually, it's going to help you to make everyone look more flattering. And everyone wants to look skinnier than we are, right? No one wants to look bigger. If you have time and if you practice it and it becomes like a second nature, you can try to avoid mirroring. Mirroring means that the left and the right side of the body are doing exactly the same thing. This. I don't know what else can we do on the same side. This. It doesn't mean it's bad. This is something that I personally try to avoid on the weddings just to make the things softer, more gentle. So if she's holding one hand here, then maybe the other one can be down. You can have numerous options, numerous possibilities. Hands draw attention, so be conscious about where you're placing them. If you know when there are Indian weddings and they have a dress that is in two parts, skirt and a top, and then some brides don't have perfectly flat belly, the thing's kind of fluff out a little bit. If you put hands here, guess what's going to be the first thing everyone is going to see? The fluffy belly that maybe she doesn't like to show. If she, no. I love my life. I would rather go out and have fun than Photoshop it. Because on the wedding day, instead of putting hands here, I can put hands towards the face, towards something else. I choose. I choose if I'm going to be fixing things in post or I'm going to do it straight there. So if I know there are elements that my clients don't want to stress out, then I just simply try to avoid them as much as possible. That doesn't mean that I'm not going to have any picture taken showing her belly. But if I do a closer portrait or a detail, then I'm not going to be placing it there. Or, exactly. Or if I really want to have a picture with the hands and the skirt, I can tell her to sit, put the hands in the lap, and take a picture from above. Again, avoiding the belly. We always have things that we can do. She has no problems like that. She can wear a skirt and a top because she has no sticking belly out. Wrists, hands, joints, everything soft because it looks more feminine, it looks more graceful, it just looks classier. And I'm pretty sure that every woman wants to look feminine and pretty and gorgeous. We don't look like men. We have them to look like men. Yeah. You're just like, yeah, okay. If you don't know what to do with the hands, if they're just dangling down, give them something to do. So I would never take a picture of her just, yeah, it's awkward. If she is not comfortable with posing as she is, give her flowers. Give her the hand of her husband. Give her something. Give her perfume to spray. Give her something to do that she would normally do and use it to your benefit. And when I have couples, I love to have the connection. I'm not a big fan of dissociated images because I want your grandkids to see what was happening between you and why you're getting married. And oftentimes the pose would be, they would just stand like this. Can you turn towards me a little bit? Mm-hmm. She's holding flowers. Okay, so her hand is done, like you have it fixed, just left hand, relax it down. And then the groom is here. What shall I do? What do you want us to do? And then you always have problem of this hand, because the bride usually does this, and then you have the groom's hand. Now, if you have a jacket, you can always put it in the jacket. And then one thing that I normally say that, again, gives me nice, spontaneous pictures of them laughing is I said, listen, again, if you don't know where to put this hand, I think we have to have a conversation. If you need some tips and tricks, what to do after I'm gone. Something silly like that. It doesn't have to be smart, but it's going to make them laugh, and it's going to make them more relaxed, and he will put his hands where they're comfortable. And then I can guide it a little bit more if I want to, but if not, I get the connection. I don't have hands dangling down doing nothing. Or the football pose. Yeah, you will never see that on my pictures. Avoid creepy hands. Creepy hands is something that is sometimes hard to avoid, but have you seen the Addams Family? Where there's that hand that goes around? And when you have group pictures, do you see it? Yeah? And how much better it looks here, or if I want to have hand, but instead of creepy hand, I either show more of it, or I completely remove it. I don't have the Addams Family creepy hand. She's so warm, my hands are so cold. I'm sorry for using you as my blanket. During my shoots, I would use a lot of positive and encouraging words and things and throwing jokes, sometimes smarter, sometimes quite silly, but just for them to get this. And this bride and groom, he especially doesn't like to be in front of the camera. How natural they look like. The only thing I said, guys, you're going to hold hands. I tell them exactly which one. And I said, I'm just going to go down. You're going to walk down the stairs. And they were already walking like twinsies. And I said, no. He's going to go one step in front of you and help you lead the way. And then because her dress was long, she was holding it naturally. I didn't tell her how to hold. I gave them something to do and made it fun, because they had fun. And when people have fun, we get amazing pictures, because they look amazing. Also tell them where to look. Don't let them wander. If I get you out here now and point all the cameras from the audience in you, it's going to be so awkward, and it'll be like, where do you want me to look? And when people take pictures of me, I do the same thing. Where do you want me to look? Where do you want me to put my hands? It gets super awkward. And don't let your clients feel awkward, because you're losing maybe some amazing emotions that can happen if they're in their awkward stage. Don't push any pose or guidance or rule for too long, especially if you see that it doesn't click, they don't feel super comfortable, or just something is feeling off. But also never tell it to them. Don't say, oh, guys, this just looks bad. No, I'm still going to do a click knowing, okay, those are the pictures I'm not going to use because something doesn't sit right. I see them being awkward. But I'm going to continue working on something else or change a concept. But they will not know. And they will never ask for those photos. Because if they look awkward, they were feeling awkward. And no one wants to remember the moments they were feeling awkward. I think you can sit now just to relax your legs. Thank you very much. I love this picture because this is exactly how she smiles. This is exactly who she is. Kill me, I don't remember what I said. But obviously it was something either super amazing or super silly. There's nothing in between. But, you know, especially today where we have a lot of fakeness around us and the world is much different than it was before, I love to explore who the people who I photograph actually are. And allow them to be that, and allow them to express it and show it to the world. And now I know that from culture to culture, emotions, as much as they're the same, they differ. There are some cultures where you can be very loud and open about your emotions, and there are some cultures where the emotions are a little bit more shy and more quiet and maybe more ready to be explored. I have a lot of Arabic brides who, once I get that out of them, they do this. And I'm like, no, I'm putting so much effort whole night to get like one picture of you for you. Because I know why you put this, why you do that, because the world is around you, but I want one picture like this for you. If you create an easygoing and safe environment for them, if you show to your clients that you understand them, you understand their worries and stress and all the emotions that they're going through, they will feel more relaxed, and logically they will connect with you. And if they connect with you, you will get an ability to create authentic work. And every wedding is going to be exactly the way it has to be. It's not going to be a copy-paste. You're not going to have approaching each bride like the one that you had last weekend. You're going to be able to create really, really authentic work for the clients that paid you money to do that. So here I just want to show you how this section progressed. Obviously, this wasn't the first picture. First picture was without her smiling. But we progressed. I never told her to touch her necklace. But she was already smiling a lot and laughing. This is something she did. And then later I noticed she did it a few more times. I would never be able to know her that good to tell her to do it. This is her. This is really her. But I created a safe environment. I created a fun environment where she was able to be herself and show me who she is. I believe that story is more important than a whole bunch of random unconnected images. Even though if those images are absolute killer of images. But if you're photographing a wedding day has a flow. It starts at some point and it ends up some point as well. And having a story through that is something that is going to make a difference between a photographer and a really good photographer. Yes.
We usually have a mood board for our client. We do this before. So do you make any meetings before the client, before the wedding, or this randomness on the day of shoot? You are just going to.
What kind of mood board do you do?
Like, no, like this is your style. Obviously, they have seen your style. That's why they have booked you. However, your work is different from what you are going to do at that time.
How different?
Means it will not be having same color or same
mine will always be the same. You go on my website, you go on my Instagram, you will see the consistency.
The theme is there.
Not the theme, the style of photography. Like, my style is very clean, a little bit bright, not over bright, not bright and airy. It's quite accurate to reality. Yes, but still not overexposed. Because when you open my picture and you go in the details, everything is there. And you go in the histogram, everything is there. But it's on the slightly brighter side, but it's not overexposed. I very rarely do dark and moody unless the environment is like that. Like that first dance, I wouldn't be able to create this bright picture there because the environment is not like that. But then if I see that clients are maybe not understanding that, it will be a communication between them to understand, listen, if you have a wedding here with black floors and black walls, thank you. I'm starting with Martinglish now, where you're going to hear a lot of funny words. If you have everything dark, and you expect to have pictures like this, or the pictures with my clients who had outdoor ceremony with everything beige around them, of course it's going to look different. But my approach is the same. I need light. My editing is always the same, very simple. So there is no oscillations here. And I don't create a mood board, because you go on my website, you know what you're going to be getting. Especially when people send me a whole bunch of pictures of poses, and they're like, oh, can we do this and this and this and this? I said, great, I'm going to keep it in the back of my mind that this is what you like. But what we're going to do on the day is going to depend on you guys. Because, you know, if you want the picture of you guys holding hands and, you know, light through here and light through there and a whole bunch of complex things, and you give me 2 minutes, and he's already stressed, we're not doing that, sorry. We cannot.
Purpose is totally different.
Yes.
Than mood boards and movies.
Yes. Because you can, I create mood boards for a lot of my shoots that I do on the side, and then I come on the shoot and we end up with something maybe different. It's a guide for you more than for them. And I don't send them the mood boards because I don't want to set up a certain expectation. Because if you set up an expectation and then something else ends up, even better, they will be dissatisfied because they had their mind set up on something. You know, I noticed that on me. Like sometimes, you know, if I go for dinner or something outside, and I was like, I'm really like into, I don't know, pizza today. Like I really want pizza. And then I go to a place and they have food that normally I would choose faster than pizza, but because my mind was like, I really want pizza, I was like, but they don't have pizza. They have the best food in the world, but they don't have pizza. The same thing with the clients. I never allow them to have the unrealistic expectations beforehand. That's why I want them to have fun, to enjoy, and to be themselves. And you cannot fail with that. You cannot have a wrong expectations in if you go that direction. Yeah. So one of the things that I do when I come on a shoot, especially if I'm really tight with the time, is think in threes: wide, medium, detail. It's super, super important because if you have all the close-ups, there's no story. There's no bigger context to that portrait. No one will know where you were at. No one will know what kind of weather it was, why that location was special and why it was chosen. You have to give a context to a story. And this is a very good example. You have your wide, you have your medium, you have your close-up. If you have no more time, you get amazing, amazing pictures. You show a location and why it was important for them. You show them, and then you go into a detail. And I think it's a great recipe for any time you're really, really tight, or you know the family is already saying, you know, we gotta go. Wide, medium, detail. If you get more time, great, fill it up, do more. But you have your base, You have something that they will print on their wall. You have something that you can use for an album. You have something that looks great on social media. You covered everything. Wide, medium, close-up. Another example of how I like to create stories through still images is to have, this is quite of a contrast. Now you can see this is quite darker than photographing it on the white background, but it still goes together. Someone can argue that this is a different style, but they still go together. And it gives you details about what is happening, where is happening, when is happening, and how did it look like based on some of the details. And then it gives you more context here. 2 pictures. If I have no more time, okay, on the wedding day you will have a little bit more time, but I have a picture like this, and I have 2 or 3 pictures of them sitting at a table. That's it. But once I put all the pictures together, they will make a story and no one will ever complain because they see everything. Another example. We didn't move the location. We just moved from standing to sitting. I need 1 picture. I don't need 50 pictures of them being here on the wall. I need 1, maybe 2. We get a detail, and maybe wide. So that's 3, not 1. But you got the point. I oftentimes see photographers being stuck on, okay, we're here and we're just milking the pose away. And what are you trying to do? 100 pictures, same, with head a little bit different tilt? It doesn't make sense. You get your one, move on, and think in a story. Now, what makes a good photographer? On top of the things you already are and the things that you already know. For a good wedding photographer, you need to have good camera skills and you have to have good personal skills. Good camera skills, obviously you have to understand photography, know it, understand it, and be able to pull the things as needed and as fast as needed. You have to be very familiar with your equipment. You cannot have a moment happening that will never repeat ever again in the history of that couple in front of you, and you're like, why is my camera doing this? Or why is that happening? You have to be so familiar with your tool. Because at the end of the day, our cameras are our tool. They're also my best friends. That's why I give them names. So you can maybe try giving names to your cameras as well to make it more friendly. But you have to really, really understand it in and out. And you have to always have it ready. I cannot tell you how many times I saw photographers missing the moment just because the camera was down, switched off, and then by the time they notice something happens there, and by the time they take their camera up, the moment is gone. So my camera is always ready, and that doesn't mean that always the exposure is going to be just perfect, because exposure here in the center where we have light is going to be completely different than exposure back in the last row. But it's always going to be ready, so whatever happens as I walk, I'm ready. And I do, he's ready, and I do my shot. You will never miss your moment if the camera is up there, switched on, and ready. You have to be consistent. I think I've shown you some pictures how I keep my consistency. This is also the question with the mood board. Have people know what they can expect from you and be consistent through the whole day. You cannot be having a session here, me photographing you. He takes pictures of me. And then he puts 10 pictures on Instagram later, and one is super cold, and one is super warm, and then one is overexposed, and one is underexposed, and it's like, what happened? Did we have like a storm happening here? You have to be consistent in how you're going to be creating and delivering your material. And of course, you have to be fast and efficient, because things happen very fast. No one waits for us. No one cares about us on the wedding day. So don't think because, I work these weddings and you might work different weddings, that my clients are easier. No one cares about us. If we miss it, we miss it. And I'm type of a photographer that I will never ask something to do again that was part of the ceremony or something that was very organic. Because if I missed it, it's my fault. It will never look the same way it looked. So you better not miss things on the weddings. You have to understand the light. We went through that. Show you some examples, and we're going to be working with that outside. And in terms of personal skills, you have to be able to change and adapt yourself to the situation that might occur. If I'm taking a portrait of her here with one exposure, and we're so focused, and then her best friend comes there, and she's so happy to see her, I have to be able to very fast switch there, start shooting, and be ready to capture something that we weren't even planning is going to be happening. And that's also part of the technical skills as well. You have to anticipate moments before they happen. If you remember the slide from the beginning where I said that we're observers and storytellers, being observers is going to allow you to anticipate the things before they happen. And being a little bit of a psychologist is going to help you in that way as well. You will be able to understand the personalities of people, what you might expect from someone, who is in 3 hours going to be the first one crazy on the dance floor and who will never get their booty from the chair. And then knowing if those two people are important people from bride and groom, you know where you will be searching for them during the day and what kind of behavior you can expect, and just keep your eyes open. You have to stay calm under the pressure. Weddings are chaotic. Weddings are loud. Weddings are messy. Weddings are not repetitive. And you don't have only the pressure of creating the images that your clients are paying you to create. You also have a pressure of friends, of family, of everyone being stressed, of the wedding planner who is making sure everything is on time. And you're the only person who is not allowed to freak out. If I freaked out with that bride who started crying because of the wrong nail polish, I would not have one single portrait with her. I was panicking on the inside, don't get me wrong. But from the outside, I had the biggest smile. I was the most warm person, even though from inside, took 5 years of my life that moment. But we made it. Because every monkey can press a shutter button, especially on new cameras. Everyone can press that button. So our job is so much more than just pressing the button. You have to have good interpersonal skills and being able to set up expectations. Don't set up the wrong expectations or the one that potentially you might not be able to deliver. The black and white pictures that I showed you before this slide, the wide, medium, and close-up of a couple, it wasn't their wedding day. It was shot in New Delhi in India because they hated their wedding pictures. And I was there for another wedding. And they reached out and they said, we really, really, really hate our wedding pictures. We made such a mistake. Photographers didn't do pictures good. And I'm pretty sure the pictures are technically correct. They're perfectly fine. And what I think the problem was that they were expecting one thing and they got a different thing. So that wasn't a matter of good and bad photography, good or bad photographers, but it was a matter of what did they expect to get and what did they get at the end. That's why I make sure my clients know exactly what they will get. You have to be assertive in moderation and when it's needed. That doesn't mean you can go around and yell at people and be rude. That just means that you have to stand your ground when it's needed. And I was listening for past week, photographers in Pakistan telling me, but you know we cannot do that because the family wants this and they're calling us and this and that and that. It's like, You think my clients are different? Sometimes they call me like a taxi. I'm not an Uber driver. There are moments when I stand my ground in a nice and polite way. That doesn't mean, sorry, can't you see I'm taking pictures? And I have moments that I would really love to say that, especially when ladies come with the phone. I literally had a lady, like I was taking pictures of something. Oh yeah, it was a jewelry stand. And I was taking pictures of jewelry stand. And she came next to me and she was like, excuse me. And I was pretending I don't hear her. She was standing right next to me. I mean, yes, you hear her. And then I finished my picture and I said, yes, how can I help you? I want to take a picture. Like, move. And I was like, okay, I just finished my picture. Here you go. I didn't do, yes, I want to take my picture. No, I'm taking a picture, can't you see? No. I pretended a little bit silly. If I cannot pretend I'm a little bit silly and I don't hear them, I would still say something like, can you just give me a moment just to finish this, and then it's all yours. We do a break. Perfect. We do a break. There is some snacks and refreshments there. You get to stretch your legs. You get to chill. And we see, we still have like 5 minutes here. Yeah, so stretch your legs, come back for like few last words, and then we take our beautiful bride and go out. Who here has a camera? Okay, minority. Okay, take a break. Switch off? Yes, I do. Yeah, out 0, right? Yes. And then later I just put it on mic. Okay, perfect. Tell me.
Go first.
Okay, that's a good idea. Okay, give me 2 minutes and I come. Perfect. Hi. Yeah, we're gonna have the model outside. No. Here in the reception. You have the camera ready. Oh. Oh, I'm so sorry for that. Yeah. It's okay. Then. Oh. I can talk. No, but what we can do with her, I can just. Yeah. There's a wall of them. Listen, you can just for the sake of understanding, I want to guide you through how I approach a new space. Yeah, and you have a phone. You can always do something with the phone, even though it's not the best. But we're gonna have a good light, I think. So, not the best for building portfolio, but just something. Mhm. Definitely, I agree. Thank you. Tell me. Yeah, for last 7 years. Yes. Yes, but they're also. I still do simple photos with the complex brides, but usually, bless you. But usually, okay, let's take an example. You have a huge ballroom dress, a tiara, makeup that you have to scrape off later. Those kind of brides usually don't come to me. I would have those brides who, yes, they still have to have a big and sparkly dress, otherwise everyone will think she's poor. But she's gonna have things a little bit more stylish. So and they're same culture, same country, same religion. But they're styles. Not everyone is gonna have the same huge ballroom and a tiara. And I work a lot with Qatari brides, and a lot of them have that because the family is not allowing them to have anything else. But I approach it the same way, and my pictures look same color, same style, everything. Unfortunately, those are the ones I cannot show. But it's the same. said,
don't
great,
know
let's
where.
fly to Paris.
Yeah,
My
but-
passport is
yeah,
ready.
Yeah, but the brides were like very simple and very, you know, yeah, elegant dress, and suddenly, okay, let me see, what are you going to wear? And she's wearing something. I think you understand
I
what
know
I'm
exactly
saying.
what
Yeah.
you mean.
Okay, how can I deliver like this
You
kind of
don't.
photos if you are wearing this and you are wearing all this amount of makeup?
You don't, because you cannot. That's why you have to educate them. That's why you have to say, guys, you want pictures in Louvre? Okay, we go there. Or we go to a park that looks like that, and then you have to have this kind of outfit and this kind of outfit. But if we're not having that, you're gonna get beautiful pictures. I'm gonna focus on your emotions, but don't expect that this is it. What I often get, especially with Qatari brides, I feel they're like 15 years behind UAE. No, they are 15 years behind UAE. Where they send me pictures that happen outdoors. They never have an outdoor wedding. They never have an outdoor where they even have their makeup done during the daylight. And then she sends me pictures outdoors, and I said, listen, we go outdoors. I'm going to make it for you, not a problem. But you have it in a ballroom. I cannot make you. It's impossible. You're still going to get bright images, very positive, very optimistic, but it's not going to be that. If you want that, then you go on this profile of mine, but then we need to do this and this and this. So I educate them. I never allow them to tell me what they want. If I already think, oh yeah, I'm not going to be able to do that, I speak to them. And if they're not okay with that, you know what? There are so many other photographers. Be someone else's headache. Yeah, because they're clients that you can never satisfy.
Yeah, because even if you want her to stand in any particular way, the dress is very huge, and however she stands, however she moves, it's always the same because it's always like a
Yes.
big
So the only
dress
thing you can make as a difference is their emotions. There's nothing else you can change.
Yeah.
We cannot choose what kind of dresses they're going to have, unfortunately. I wish we can. But this is something you have to tell them. It's that bride's first wedding. She never thought about that before. I had a bride who was holding her hands like this. And I was like, is there a reason? And she was like, yeah, I feel comfortable like that. And I took one picture and I said, like, look, you look like a T-Rex. And she was like, oh my God, I will never forget this. And then she started putting them down. But what would happen if I didn't tell her that, for her to become aware of? She would see her pictures later. She was like, oh my God, what's wrong with my hands? And she would not like it. So we have to educate them, and we have to set up the realistic expectations. If you tell me I have 5 minutes to create pictures of you indoors and outdoors in the ballroom, I have to talk to you to tell you there is no chance of having it. What happened on one of the recent weddings, it was a few months back, it was a Qatari wedding, and she wanted outdoor pictures because it was at one complex overlooking the Doha skyline. Okay, I said, great. I'm all about shooting in the sunset. But have in mind, that's a public area. You have a brunch party next to the pool. You have, people passing, and no one can see you uncovered. So I am totally up for it, but please be sure to talk to your hotel before, coordinate it, and see how it can be done. For me, you have green light. But I told her what to think of. What happened on the day? It was the Formula One was happening in Qatar. CNN was right next to her bridal room doing live, whole day, CNN. And she was like, okay, I'm ready to go out. I said, where? Out. I said, listen, I'm, again, totally fine. You have CNN going live on CNN. People are getting quite drunk at the pool. People are passing nonstop. I have no issues. But you don't want to be seen, and your husband don't want you to be seen. And then what happened? She was very insisting. And then another problem happened. It was, I think, the windiest day in the history there. She had a long dress. And I said, listen, I think that's going to happen. We're doing this photo shoot before your official entrance, before your party. When you have that big train and you walk outside, it's beautifully going to clean everything. No, 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 it's going to be fine. And I knew it's not going to be fine. I didn't let it here. What I could have done is say, okay, that's what you want. We take pictures, which can result in two ways. She either asked me to Photoshop everything, that I'm literally going to take a gun and shoot myself, or she's going to be angry at me because her dress is dirty, and most probably all the other guests will think that it's my fault. And I didn't let it here. So what I went out, I did this, and I came to her and I said, it's your call. I just did this outside. This is going to be on your white dress. And I can tell you now, there is no chance we Photoshop it to look clean. Okay, call the hotel, put the carpet. I don't care. But it wasn't set up expectation that it's going to fall back on my back. That's our job. And that's how you protect yourself as well. That was a very long answer to your question. Huh? Yes. Exactly. And the problem is it's always our fault because the pictures are the one that is gonna stay. And it's all our fault. They will not remember that food was really not delicious, that good, but they will remember if the pictures are not good because they have them forever. So everything is our fault. When I come to the ballrooms and the light is really bad, ladies come to me and ask for the light. I was like, I'm a photographer. This is from the hotel. But yeah, can you tell them? Oh my goodness, I had a wedding that was 2 weeks ago. This was crazy. I came home and I couldn't stop laughing just on the thought of it. So the bride had her grand entrance. So I think it happens quite similar with Emirati weddings here. So there's doors open, there's a long catwalk for bride to walk, and at the end of catwalk, kosha. So she sits, the couch. And the door's open and she starts walking and the dress gets stuck. And I'm completely on this other side of the ballroom, capturing the doors opening her from the front before I start changing my angles. And the friend of the bride, go and fix her dress, go and fix her dress. I was like, I'm taking pictures. And you know, that's a moment where I really want to say, you go and fix your dress because you're not doing anything, you know, just a common sense. And then I said, sorry, I'm taking pictures. I tried to do it with the biggest smile that I can't even just the request is so ridiculous. Just the fact that she thinks that she can disrespect her friend that much. Her friend paid money for me to give her something. And me going and doing something else, it's a disrespect. But it's always how we take it.
Another question: do you have like something called wedding lens?
I shoot prime lenses. I shoot with 2 cameras, so I have a harness. I have 2 cameras. 90% of time, this camera is going to be on 50 millimeter. 50, nifty 50. You do everything. It's not too wide to start showing things that I don't want to show, but it's just perfect to be able to do both close-ups and the full bodies. And the other one, depending what I'm doing. If I'm doing portraits with bride and groom, most often it's going to be 105. So 50, 105. If I'm shooting ballroom decorations, 50, 35. Or 35, 105. Like I would change based on what I'm doing in that moment. But I shoot all prime lenses. And when I go on a wedding, in my bag I have 24, 35, 50, 85, 105. That's it. And my legs.
You never use the 71.
No, because when
It's not.
no, I don't think it's not necessarily. Definitely has a purpose, but because I travel a lot, 70 to 200 is very heavy and big. So for me, I have to compromise on some of the other things I can bring in the plane before plane tells you you cannot bring it with you on board. Because I never check in my equipment. It's with me. And then I try to fake it because, 7 kg is not enough. So I have like a big ladies bag. It's like, no, this is just my personal stuff and lenses are, sticking out. But 70 to 100 is just too heavy and complicated for what I do, but it definitely has a purpose.
So you switched from 8 to Z.
Yeah,
You noticed very major difference in weight? I think
it's the same.
because mainly the weight in the lens is not in the body.
Yes, so my 810 with 50 versus Z8 with new 50 lens is lighter than the DSLR. This combo is lighter than 810 with old 50.
Okay, this one is 50.
Yeah,
Z.
is that Z50? Yeah, and the autofocus is amazing. Like first I said like no, I have all the lenses. I'm just gonna use adapter, and then I was like okay, I'm gonna get 50. Focus is amazing. Then I bought 105. I have Z 105 in my bag as well. The macro shots I'm able to do of the jewelry with the DSLR and old 105, it would be like, okay, focus. And then I already see like, because you know, when we breathe, we move a little bit because you don't have time of putting the tripod and everything on the wedding. So like I was like, Martina, okay, slow down your breathing and then do few, you know, if you miss the focus. With this thing, so easy. I mean, I still end up getting the same result, but the process is easier.
Yeah, yeah.
So this is what helps us. And then the back pain.
Okay, thank you.
You're most welcome. Oh, who's here? Rakesh asked me to check the space. Okay, so I want those. Say again, sorry. Okay. Yeah, but I cannot do much there. No. Not because of the lighting, but I want to show people here how I approach a shoot. And well, we still have like 3 slides to finish, and then maybe you can continue with the phone live. No. Then they get the wrap up. Yeah. Where is Rakesh? Oh. Okay. So I definitely want. Yes. So we're gonna use the corridor. We're gonna switch the lights in other rooms so we make it dark.
Okay.
One light from behind and one light from the front. We can, yeah, the softbox we can put on the backs, and the back take the modifier off just to make it smaller. Yeah, that's it. Simple. Okay, cool. Okay, everyone, can I have your attention for a moment? What's next? Keep having your coffee. We can go for 10 more minutes back there with the coffee, just to wrap up, just to tell you a few more things, and then we're gonna come here. The guys are gonna set up lights for us, and we're gonna have a little bit. You can get your certificate and picture. Okay. Yeah. Okay. So whenever you're ready, let's go for 10 more minutes, and we can back here. Don't go back there. Yeah. Minute. It's gonna be like we don't hear anymore. Yeah, you can bring. Check and talk. Don't give. I like the smell. The coffee, I like the smell, but taste just feels too grown up. I don't know. I don't ask me. Like I would go for hot chocolate. Martina, pleasure to meet you. so during during the summer, I'm in Europe, mostly Croatia and Italy, and then across. During the winter, I'm everywhere. During the winter, I'm between UAE and Qatar mostly. So like I follow the season. Summer season is Europe, winter season is this part of the world. Yeah, I just came from Pakistan as well, so like everywhere. That's a beautiful thing about being destination photographer. Yeah, and not having small kids home. Oh, nice. Are you planning to do it here? Maybe, from time to time. Can on top. Nice. Mm, for getting the creativity out. But that's nice. You have to have your. US is even a huge business. Yeah. Maybe it's gonna inspire you to start a little bit here, on the side. Nothing. Well, thank you. Is everyone back? Just take a peek. Switch the mic on. Is there more people there? Are there more people there?
No, no one.
You guys are the last. Sugar at the end. Okay. I was expecting that more of you today will have cameras, so you get to shoot as well. But I guess it wasn't said in advance. So whoever is going to be having camera today, feel free to take pictures once we go out. And for the ones you don't, it's not going to be boring. I will talk out loud how I would normally approach the shoot, so you get a little bit of insight in that. But if you will be really tapping into wedding photography and maybe seriously considering into at least trying out and see how you like it, I think this is quite important, how to build up your portfolio. How to have work that people will see and hire you when no one hires you because when you don't have work. How do you do that? You can be a second shooter. You can find photographers who are already doing weddings. You can approach studios. You can offer them to do something for them, go with them on the weddings in exchange of being able to show those pictures later. There's so many ways of dealing with other photographers. You can offer your friends a free session. You'll for sure have friends. married, unmarried. You can say, hey guys, you know what? I just want to build up some portfolio for this. Would you mind? I will give you pictures after. So it's kind of a win-win situation. You can make a giveaway, which is also great if you really know that you're going to be getting into wedding photography. And also gives you some likes. You spread the word that you're in this business. So that can also be one of the options. You can shoot details for the weddings, especially for the Arabic weddings where you're maybe not allowed to show people. And then you can just go and take one of your nice shoes and put them next to perfume and take a few pictures. Or you can approach a shop with jewelry and say, you know what, can I make a few pictures of your 3 top selling engagement rings? I'm going to send you the pictures. You have pictures for a portfolio as well. You can approach strangers at the street like I did with those 2 in Greece. I was photographing a wedding on one of the islands, and I don't tell anyone, but the bride and groom were really not pretty. And I knew they're not going to go on my website or social media because there is one rule: show what you want to attract. And while those 2 people were absolutely wonderful and so dear and so sweet, I knew that those are not type of clients that I want to be attracting in the future because they had a lower budget, the decoration was not so nice, etc., etc. So I was really frustrated because it was my first wedding in Greece, and I really wanted to come back and put something in portfolio to potentially get more weddings in Greece. And on the last day, I was walking around, and I always walk around with a camera with a 50mm lens on, so it's not something complex and big. And I saw those 2. I mean, they look like 2 models. How lucky was I? And I was discussing in my own head whether I shall approach them or not. And one side of me said, yes, go, 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 go. And another one was like, oh, come on, like, you know. And I really didn't want to go home without anything from Greece to show. And I approached them. And first thing was like, hey, guys, just to make clear, I'm not selling anything. Because, you know, when people approach you, that's the first thing you think. They're selling you something. So they accepted the photo shoot, sent them the pictures. He even changed the pants for me because he had very red pants for me. So I managed to convince 2 strangers to give me a little bit of their time to go change their pants, and I did something for my portfolio. You can keep educating yourself. This is something that is going to help you with generally building for portfolio because you can add things that are not necessarily happening on the wedding day if you're creative enough and you find the way. I think you should really explore networking with other photographers. I don't know if all of you here, if you guys know each other or not, but it's always nice to have a small circle of people who are maybe thinking the same way as you are or approaching the photography the same way you are. And it's a fantastic if you start getting work. If you're already busy, you can send it to your friend and vice versa. So sometimes you can get weddings from the people that, you know, are just already busy on the wedding day. And it's a beautiful, beautiful thing. Show what you want to attract. Nothing that I don't want to attract will not go on my social media. It doesn't mean the pictures are bad, but maybe it's just not the style that I hope to grow and develop into. This is a good example of how I add into my portfolio. This is the picture I did in Lahore in Pakistan a few days ago. I was there with Nikon doing the workshops, and this model was on the workshop. She was beautiful. I did some really nice couple pictures. But I wanted something more traditional, something that I know that majority of the brides will be having. They're going to be tied to a hotel room. They will not have time to go to beautiful locations outdoors. And I just asked the girl to come into my hotel room. A few hours before I was catching a flight to leave. And she normally doesn't do free sessions. She charges them. And I approach her in a way, listen, I don't know if you do that. There is no budget because it's just something for the fun. But of course, I'm happy to give you all the images and create something on top for you that you think might be useful for you. And I can promise you it's just going to be fun. And she said, yeah, I normally don't do that, but you know, we did already a shoot and I know how you work and I would love to. and I came back home with pictures. Now I want to show you a little bit of a video. It's very short, but this is the video that we did when I was testing the Z8, the Nikon Z8, few weeks before I bought it. So here it is. Hey guys, my name is Martina, and today I'm testing the new Z8 in PhotoLED Studio in Doha, Qatar, and I'm super excited to take you on the journey. I've been a loyal Nikon DSLR user for more than 13 years, but after I tried new Z8, I'm seriously considering upgrading. Finally. I still feel that if I use the viewfinder, I have more control, because I have nothing like disrupting my view. I feel like it's cleaner. But this just feels more convenient when you're in a rush, definitely. And considering I'm a DSLR shooter, I never use back screen. Feels a little bit odd, but I think I can totally get used to it. Using the LCD screen is so easy to nail those low and high angle shots without looking like I'm doing yoga at the wedding. The grip is so convenient and the camera's anatomy is like a familiar handshake, making the transition from DSLR to mirrorless smoother than a fresh SD card slide. I know there are totally benefits of going on a silent shutter, where there are moments where I literally want to be quiet and not take any attention on myself by click, click, click. So having the ability to go quiet is super awesome. As a wedding photographer, it is so important to be able to capture the magic of the day without being the center of attention. It's like being a camera ninja. Well, in my case, Martinja. Now let's talk autofocus, specifically eye detection. If you've been living in the DSLR world like me, Z8 is a total game changer. Seriously, this is too good of a camera. Like I can shoot like this. It's super cool. Smoke goes even over her face, and the autofocus is still gonna keep it on locked. Look, it's perfect. I have been shooting this session at 2.0 or 2.8 most of the time, and the Z8 locks onto those eyes like a laser-guided missile. No more missed shots, no more back button focus lock, just pure, crispy, sharp images every time. Oh, like how amazing. Straight from the camera. 8 years with my trusty D810, and this transition feels like I'm upgrading to a first-class seat without leaving my comfort zone. And while Z8 is totally stealing the camera world spotlight, I guess it's time that it steals a spot in my camera bag as well. Well, after that I bought the camera, because it was really good. Nikon people are trying to get me on mirrorless for quite some time now, and I was so hesitant. And I said, okay, let's see how the Z8 is going to be, and I have it now. And one of the cool things that I love about it is because I can do the hybrid shoot. So when I go on a wedding, next to creating the pictures I normally create, I can create some awesome, cool videos that is going to be a free marketing tool for me. I make reels like this, and I don't need any extra equipment. I already have my camera, I have the lens, and I literally switch the button, and I can do some video clips as well. And by the way, the video you saw, it was filmed by a videographer who is a Sony user, a very big Sony user. And he was using Nikon Z6 II to film this video. And he's so much in love with the colors. Like, he didn't do any post-production in terms of color correction, and he was so thrilled with the colors. Now, I'm just going to leave you with this, whoever is going to be tapping into weddings, and for the people who are already there with the weddings, why are people actually ready to pay big bucks for us when there are so many photographers, and a lot of them are actually quite cheap? Emotions is something that is really driving the purchase, and you know it because, you know, there are cars that are really cheap and cars that are really expensive. They do the same job. They bring us from A to B, but some people just buy cars that are super expensive. And there are ladies who buy shoes that cost 100 dirham, and there are ladies who buy shoes who are costing a few thousands or tens of thousands dirham. They do the same thing. They're shoes. You put them on your feet, you walk. Emotion is something that is going to be driving the purchase capabilities in a way, because I have a lot, oftentimes clients who come with a certain budget, and then we realize that's not something I can work with because my prices are higher. They find a way to readjust the budget because they really want it, because they're hoping to get beautiful images as well. If you sell just pictures, you sell just pictures. I never sell just pictures. I sell emotions. I sell story. I sell memories. And if you sell all those things, you don't actually sell photography, but you sell the value. You don't sell taking pictures, you sell experience. And people who want a nice experience, people who want less headache, people who want memories, they will always be paying more money. Your clients will pay more money for you because you photograph for them, not for other photographers, not for social media. You photograph for them and them only. They will not pay us money to take pictures of the things that they already see themselves and they can take themselves. With the iPhones, with amazing cameras, everyone can press that button. Every monkey can make a picture. And they will not pay us big dollars, dirhams, whatever the currency, to just photograph whatever is there. They want us to see the things not only for what they are, but for what they can become. Once we go in the reception now, they don't want us to just come and click the picture. They want us to create something. Something that they didn't see once they entered the room. And then add emotions on top. The bottom line of this big slide is that we have to provide the value. We have to provide something that other photographer cannot provide. We have to find a way to allow them to be themselves the way other photographer cannot. Because we all have same cameras, right? It's not that different nowadays that, ooh, some people have amazing equipment and some people are trying to shoot weddings with a phone. No. We're more or less the same. We all have similar capabilities. One of the...
Just one question.
Yes.
Bit of seal. Have you faced any question like what camera you are using?
Nikon Z8.
No. From the client side.
Oh, no. No.
That's
Do you go... Okay, you don't go because you're bald, but do you go to a hairdresser?
in Dubai. Most of the cases, we have faced so many times. I have heard so many questions from the photographers. Most of the time they face the same questions in Dubai. What camera you are using, what equipment you are using. And probably the photographers face the same thing. There's something very cliche understanding between the value and the equipments. Because we are learning photography. We need to know the aesthetics, create the values, capturing the moments. But most of the cases, photographers got the wrong thing. They believe that, okay, many equipments, more equipments make you the perfect photographs. That's very...
But it's not. I mean, better equipment helps you do things easier, faster. But it's if you know how to take pictures, you're going to take pictures on your iPhone. It just camera is going to make it easier for you and you will be able to do it. But it's not going to do anything instead of you. This is why everyone is talking about AI now and feeling threatened. AI will never be able to replicate what we are doing. Yeah, he's going to help you. The video that I showed you, did you like the voiceover? Was it nice? I use ChatGPT. I didn't have ChatGPT write it for me. I wrote it down. I knew what I want to say, how I want to say, what kind of jokes I want to throw in. I wrote it down, like the way it just poured out of me. And then I threw it in ChatGPT and I said, just use nicer English. Make it better.
And Martinja?
Yes, and Martinja. Yes, yeah.
You have to specify some keywords.
Not keywords. I wrote the text. But my original text was not so nice sounding like this one.
The voice from
No, the voice is me. But we're talking just about the words, the script. Yeah. So things can help you, but it's not going to do anything for you. There is one thing I want to leave you today with. Start where you are. Use what you have, and do what you can. And tomorrow, that's maybe going to be bigger and better than yesterday. But start where you are, use what you have, and do what you can. Now, let's head up there, and then when we wrap up, if anyone has any more questions, I'm more than happy to answer more, but let's do some pictures, and then you can still use me. Oh, I forgot this one. Thank you. Because we're not leaving, so. Okay, so let's go to the reception. Yes.
To hold the camera?
Yes, please. Okay, everyone can go by the time I figure myself out.